There you go. Welcome to the Bob and Tam show tonight.
Hello.
So we'll see who all comes on, and we've got an agenda we're going to be talking about tonight. We're going to talk about what do we got going on? The Bullhead City River Run. We're going to give you the correct dates on that. We're going to talk a little bit about the recall that's going on motorcycles. If you bought one here in the last couple of years, we're going to talk about that. We've also got, what else did I put on the agenda? We're going to talk about diesel gas. We're going to talk about Sturgis a little bit. And we've asked Amsoil Adam, but we haven't responded to us yet, so he might just pop in here. We asked him to kind of come online, and we could talk a little bit. It really doesn't open. Galveston doesn't really start till tomorrow. Thursday is their opening day, but some of the vendors will actually open up on Wednesday. I don't know what the city's ordinances and things like that are down there. Last year on Wednesday, nobody was doing any work, so most of them were setting up. Because they closed the main street down where Adam's at, and Rick Rack and Speeds and a whole bunch of other people. But
here, can't get it from that far away. See if I can do this now. It looks like David's on. Good evening from sunny Florida.
There you go.
It wasn't very sunny here today. There's our 27.99. Bob and D. Roadkill Ron, what's up? We're packing up to go to California. Hey, Bob and Tam. Hey, there you go. And then that's Audie's on, and Sean and Rick, who we met up in Estes Park. They're on, listening and watching. Stephen Sample says, hi, Bob and Tam. Leaving at 10 a.m. for the Lone Star Rally. There you go, Roadkill Ron. Be down there with everybody. Patine. There's Mike. He's in California. Who gave us that? Sean and Rick gave us a thumbs up.
And if you're on Facebook, if you go right above the Facebook thing there, the little box that you collect on, there's a little, it's highlighted. I don't know what color it is, but it says give permission to StreamYard to use your name. If you click on that, that gives, because it's a third party. We're not actually on YouTube, and we're not actually on Facebook. It's actually a third, it's an app that I put on the computer, and that's what allows us to do all the stuff. One, it lets us put our logo up here. It puts you guys down here. We can bring people on. It's got a lot of extra features, and for some reason YouTube, I guess, doesn't care, but Facebook wants to give you got to give permission for us to use your name on here.
Yeah. It just says Facebook user. See, like here, it just says Facebook user. It doesn't have your name.
So if you clicked on the right above it in your Facebook, you might have to go back out of close the chat, and it'll be right above that where it wrote out everything that we were saying that we're going to do tonight. So that's on that. So we'll wait a few seconds here to get a few more people on before we rattle through all the excitement that's going on. Oh, we're going to talk about the garage. Maybe I'll talk about that while we're waiting for more people to come on. So the garage and the shop, what's going on with that? Not a whole lot. We're waiting for, yes, they're putting in, well, what we did is we cut around the back of the building. We had probably, I don't know, 6 or 8 or 10 or 20, I don't know, a bunch of feet behind the building that was on a hill that I couldn't use. So I wanted somebody to kind of cut that down, so I could have enough room to where if we needed to move RVs or cars or whatever we needed to do, could go around the back of the building and come around the other side. So that's what they did. Well, and they moved all that dirt and put it out front, which really wasn't dirt, it was sand. So now we have a real spongy little lot that we're going to sink in if we drive anything on it. So we were unable to work in the garage and do any of the walls or anything like that. So we really haven't even
been in the building since.
So what ended up happening was it was supposed to all be done on Friday. So by the time we got home on Monday from Las Vegas, it would be all done and we'd be ready to go. Well, the guys backhoe, he's got one that's got it's like a tank.
Trackers.
It's got not trackers. They're I can't think what they're called. Somebody in the service will remember that. Whatever they're called. They were wore out. So took it down, dropped it off. Well, those things weigh like 300 or 400 pounds each one. And it takes like 5 guys. The shop's really busy. They thought they would have it done yesterday, thought it would be done today, and it's not. So they brought over the little guy, and they've been running around just kind of doing some stuff. And I said, you need a lot more rocks.
Stephen Sample says he's a surveyor in Arizona if you need one. You're about a year too late.
Yeah, $1,500 too late. We had to pay for it a while back.
Yeah, when we first got the lot.
Yep. Neighbor was taking my ground. And so that's kind of the update on the building.
Thanks, Mike. He says Friday's the last day to join Bob and Tam in the deep lake RV area at the chip.
We're going to talk about that. And let's bring it up now. So we're going to talk about what the building is. We did finally found a good fuse box with a meter set up on. I actually ordered it. Came from California. And actually, it wasn't too bad. It's $350, so it wasn't too awful much more
Some
than
of them
the
were
going
like
price.
$5,000, $6,000, $10,000.
You know, $5,000, $6,000, $8,000 or
Wow.
5,000.
Hey,
There's
David.
people on eBay selling them for stupid price. But this came from electric supply place over in California. I talked to the city or the county, and they said it's fine, so shouldn't have any trouble. So that's what we're waiting on. So hopefully next week when we get back, the pole will be in the ground. I can put the box up. We can get the electric approved.
And we can drive in, because right now it's like the car on the beach. It's just thick, soft sand. That's all our lot is right now.
So that'll be that. So what else is going on? If you missed the live that we had the other day, or the short that we told you all, that we got an extension with the Buffalo Chip till this Friday, the 4th or the 5th.
The 4th.
The 4th by 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. That if you're interested in staying where we're staying at in the Deep Lake, it's behind, it's a far back corner. Left. If you're standing in front of the place, it's the far left corner as far as you can go. Somebody asked how quiet it was going to be. Nothing's going to be totally quiet, but we were on the other side where the stage.
We were on the side of the stage. And
we didn't really hear anything that amounted to anything.
And we're on this side, the opposite side of the stage, but in front of the stage.
So is it possible to hear something? Probably, but it is what it is. Concerts are over at midnight, so and then whatever else they got going on like that. The only good thing is I don't think we're going to have a lot of people running through our sites. It's kind of an offbeat area that you're really not going to have people going in and out.
Mike says somebody's already talking to one sexy biker chick and his wallet already hurts.
So yeah, we got all kinds of excitement going on there at the Buffalo Chip. So if you want to be involved with our group at the Chip, that's where we're booking at. You got to book it this week by Friday to get the camping site. If you want to put a camper on, or you just want a place to put your tent, and you want to pay the $750 for the lot, comes with 50 amp and water, and then whatever else you bring. That's for the whole time. And then the wristband is what decides how many days you get to stay. If you pay for pre-rally, or if you pay for just the rally time, or what you have. The campsite's still the $750. So depending on how many people. Right now it's $295 plus some taxes, over $300. Time to buy is now. As soon as he lists the first concert, which we're hearing right now, he hasn't got any come back yet. With the Buffalo Chip, they send all this stuff out. And the bad news is a lot of these bands and stuff aren't looking that far ahead. They're not looking into next year already. A lot of them are trying to wrap up this year and start looking at the first part, but not so much into August. So when we talked to him, he had a lot of contracts that are out, feelers are out, and saying, hey, we want to hire you. His headliner he's already contacted, waiting for their staff to come back and send him a contract. So once that happens, we'll be able to announce the big headliner that he's going to have this year. He's got a couple other bands that he's put feelers out for. We've asked about some bands that just said no, they're not doing it. Just like Jelly Roll. I was going to call him Jellyfish, but Jelly Roll, no. He don't want to play in Sturgis. He don't want to play out in the sun. He don't want to play outside. They asked him last year to do it, 2022, and he just said no. Didn't even give him a price. Just said no. So they're not going to ask him this year if he turned down last year, because a lot of you on our regular Facebook, the big Facebook page that we have, we put out there what bands would people like to see. Now, the bad news is a lot of you put bands that were already here this year, 2022, which I told the Rod, normally, he doesn't bring back same bands back to back. So that's pretty normal for him, because he just figures if he had him last year, why bring him back this year? So typically, what you can say, Leonard Skinner's one that we think might be coming back. We talked to him about it. It was like, oh, I didn't know that.
Let me write that down.
He was in the video. But it's supposed to be the 13th of August is going to be their 50th anniversary of when they released their first album. So they actually did a video this 2022 with Rod and the Buffalo Chip before the concert or after it, and said, hey, we'd love to come back here and celebrate our 50th here. So I told him, and he's like, I'm going to write that down. So good chance they might be here, but right now we don't know none of the bands. Nobody has sent him a contract back. He's got a lot of stuff. This year is really, if it all comes out, what we talked about, this will be a really big year to be at the Buffalo Chip. And what Rod wants to do is he's getting older, and he wants to just build up these next 3 years to where he gets to his 45th. So he's on his 40. This will be 43rd. Is that what we figured?
No, 42nd.
42nd this year. So he's working up. So, of course, everybody's going to be excited about What is it? Sturgis is
The 85th.
Yeah, 85th Sturgis Rally.
Because his will be the 45th. His 45th will be the year after Sturgis's 85th.
Yep. So building up to the 85th, it's always going to be a big rally anyway. Every year when you hit the fives, it's usually pretty good. The 80th would have been good if it wouldn't have been for the pandemic going on. So it is what it was. And so it will start building up. And a lot of times we used to always like to go before the big days because it just gets really, it's like at 75th. They were supposed to have been 1 million people. Maybe there was, maybe there wasn't. Who knows? But of course, it was a larger crowd than they've ever had before, probably. Will the 85th be like that? Possibly. So we'll just have to wait and see how it all builds up to all that because more and more people, with the price of gas, depending on this election, make sure you get out and vote. People always say, oh, my vote don't count.
It does.
Go vote and see what happens.
Vote.
If everybody came in here and said, hey, I voted.
That's
great.
Good.
Doesn't matter who you vote for, but just get your butts out there and vote and quit listening to TV. That's your first thing. Quit listening to TV and radio because
do your own research.
When I was used to be an officer for the union and president, and one girl slandered me. I was going to get a lawyer to sue him, and they said, "Tell me the situation." I told them what it was. They said, "It's election. It's political. They can say anything about you, and there ain't nothing you can do about it." So that's what's bad about all the stuff you watch on TV and listen on the radio and all that. You should do your homework, check out what they've done, especially if they're already somebody that's in office. You can see what the hell they're doing. If they're saying, well, oh, we're going to stop this and stop that. Well, dude, if they ain't done it in the last 2 or 4 years, you probably ain't going to do it after that. So if you got somebody that's in office and they've been doing good stuff for you, keep them in office. But if they're not, kick the other people's butts out and put somebody in that's good. So that's the end of our
political rant. There you go.
Just get out and vote.
Kimberly Ann's on too, watching.
We put our ballot in because because we travel so much, so we always have a mail in. And we found out yesterday that if we didn't get it in postmarked by last night, so we rushed down to the post office.
3:45, the post office closes at 4. So that was like.
What did the post guy tell you?
He says every vote counts. He says I'll get these marked and handle them with care. That's right. So he stamped them and put them in the mail.
There you go. So that's pretty.
We're not even going to be here for election day. We're going to be in California with my grandsons.
So let's see what else. I got some other stuff we want to talk about.
Harley Frank says, vote. Every vote counts. Please get them. Or what? I don't know.
Oh, I took pictures of this stuff. That's what I want to do. All right. So, wrong one. Screenshots. All right. So first off, we want to let everybody know that the Bullhead River Run is going to actually be April 26th through the 29th of 2023. So there's a lot of different rallies that are already posting dates. The Lake of the Ozarks already put their dates out. It's sometime in September.
I think he said the 13th through the 19th, something like that.
If you're interested, go to the website and look. So they are starting to do. We're still waiting if anybody's heard about Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue. If they posted their new date yet, don't know if anybody knows about Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue, and Rogers, which is the city that took it over. The Sturgis officials said they would be happy to help them out. You could either talk to Dan Ainsley or you could talk to Tammy. What's her last name?
Tammy who?
At the city, Sturgis.
Tammy Even Cordell.
Okay. Those are the two people that they would be happy to give advice and information to Rogers because we heard their event this year was just a total F-up. So we want to make sure that they figure out what's going on. It is tough. People always tell us, you want to do your own rally. No, I ain't interested. Right?
So they like to see some different bands play in Sturgis.
Well, see what happens with different bands is there's only so many that will do these kind of things, do rallies. First of all, you got one of the things that the Buffalo Chip does. Buffalo Chip's the only one that really brings big name bands. The Full Throttle tries to bring people, but most of the time they're people that aren't real popular, not as big as some of the ones that come to the Chip. Shade Valley's trying to. They're actually looking at, is it Toby Keith that's got the cancer?
Yeah.
They said if he survives, they've already got him booked for next year. It would be great, but I doubt if he'll be healthy enough or even around to be able to do that. So what you got to look at is when you're looking at bands, there's a lot of bands, like let's say, it's like somebody said they'd love to see Garth Brooks. Well, the difference of the Buffalo Chip than most concert venues is they sell you a campground access. Okay, so anything that's going on in the campground,
campground pass.
You can do whatever you want. So you're not selling tickets to get into, because it is, even if you came in the back gate, you could stay all night. You could have came around the front, pulled your bike in, throw your sleeping bag down, pop a tent up someplace, and you could stay there all night long. Or you could just lay on the ground, whatever you want to do, but you're more than welcome to stay till the next day.
Camper.
So those are things that a lot of people that are concert people, bands and such, they want to cut of the tickets. Well, see, at the Buffalo Chip, you really don't know how many people actually are there for the concert because you have a full campground. So if the campground's full, are you assuming everybody's there? If you did, you assumed wrong because we're not at most of those concerts in the past. Yeah. So we don't normally, so there's probably a lot of other people that never even go to the concerts. They sit out there and have a good time and that's it. So you know how many tickets were sold that day, but was it somebody else that was paying for a day? Yeah, somebody was coming in and paying for that day to stay with us, hang out with us at our campsite, and maybe it's a lousy concert going on. So that's the reason. That's first of all one of the reasons you may not see some bands come because they can't get a price of the tickets. Because some people know, like for instance, Kid Rock. You know, if there was 100, which once again nobody can count numbers. Let's say the number was floating around there. There was 120,000 people in 2021 for Kid Rock's concert. Well, they say he gets about $200,000. That's just gossip. Rod's told us nothing. He doesn't tell us he doesn't tell us anything about.
There was a concert up in Oceanside. Somebody told us that that's what they paid for him to be up there. I wouldn't have whether that's true or not either. That's all hearsay.
So there's a lot of bands that just aren't going to come out. Like somebody might say, "Oh, we want the Rolling Stones." Probably ain't going to happen. You know, I want Elton John. Probably not. You know, people like that. First of all, they're only going to be able to bring in probably one big headliner because that's the one that takes all the major bucks for it. So if it's Kid Rock or you had Snoop Dogg, which didn't turn out very good. I wouldn't have used him as a headliner, but I mean, what all these people are trying to do is trying to bring in a new generation of people. What the Buffalo Chip tries to do is give you a variety of music. I mentioned to him, which I would like to see, is George Strait is out on tour this next year
with Chris Stapleton.
Yep. Now to bring both of them in would be outrageous, but that would be now you may not be a George Strait fan. To me, we've listened to George Strait for years. It'd be nice to see before he's no longer able to come around or he's not around with us anymore. Chris Stapleton is actually another one that would like to see. He's gotten pretty popular and stuff, but you know, what does it take to bring both those two guys? You know, you could be looking for $500,000. You know, some people say they want Garth Brooks. Well, Garth Brooks, same thing. He puts out a giant stage. You know,
he needs a giant stage. He used to. When we saw him when he was younger, before he took his hiatus.
I think he still runs around like that.
Oh my gosh, he used the whole stage and everything.
But I mean, no matter who you're looking at, if you wanted to have whoever, you know, and there's some people, like we told him that you should book Jasmine King, have her play the whole rally, have her play between the bar up at the top for free and down at the Bikini Beach. Well, we've been told that Kickstands has already signed her up for some nights. And I don't know if it's just one night. I don't know how many nights it is, but they've signed up that already for that.
She usually plays at Glencoe too.
She plays everywhere. She usually does a night just about everywhere. She'll do the Iron Horse and I don't think she ever plays out at Full Throttle, but just about every place else she's played one night somewhere. Right?
Probably not Full Throttle.
Oh, probably not.
From rumors we've heard also.
Heard Michael Ballard owes her a lot of money.
No Garth.
Yeah. So Garth won't. So you know, we're talking more about country, but I mean, there's other bands that are possible. You know, REO. That's one we brought him up again, but he didn't say nothing. You know, REO Speedwagon's another one that we really like. But a lot of the ones that you guys talk about, like on the thing, people want Shinedown. They just were there. You know, so if you look through and seen the bands that were just there, they're probably not coming back this year. So that's the first thing you got to look at. And the second thing, like somebody wrote me on one of the, I don't know if it was an email or what, and said, "Hey, I know this great band that does an AC/DC tribute. It's an all-girls band out of San Francisco or something." And so she said, "Can you help them find a location?" I'm like, "Well, what's your contact?" "Well, I don't have one." Well, I'm not calling these people up cold turkey and say, "Hey," now if you've got a band that you've got a contact for them, you think they're a great band, they've got some videos out on YouTube or something like that, I'll be happy to pass them around because all the bars in town are going to be hiring bands. The big names are usually more the Sturgis are at the Buffalo Chip, but there has been, you know, Full Throttle gets somebody out there once in a while, and Shade Valley will have to see what they do. I just think their venue isn't going to be big enough to bring in really big headliners. They couldn't have Kid Rock out there. Where are you going to put 120,000 people? You're just not even don't even have that much parking out there. And they'd be out in the campgrounds where everybody would be. So I don't know. We didn't make it out there this time. During the time we ran out of time, so we didn't get a chance once Sturgis to go back out to Shade Valley and talk to them. It was a lot busier than I thought. But that was the other thing about Sturgis. I couldn't believe how busy it was down there for being an off time. No event was really going on. Well, they're getting ready for Halloween. They were. But I mean, it was a lot of people, a lot more than we've ever seen in a non-rally atmosphere.
Yep. Usually, because right after the rally, I think everybody's just done and nobody comes out because it's like a ghost town. So it's like really quiet. So it was nice to see people out and everybody there. A few people we didn't get to see. We kind of didn't get to see Wyatt's Lemonade. We wanted to go out and see him. Didn't get to do that. Didn't get to see our friends Doug and Marissa. But we got to see a lot of the people. Mike was actually out there from Kathmandu. Didn't meet up with him either. But we saw through Facebook posts that he was out there on the treadmill watching my favorites. There you go. Do you at them? There's
So
Chad.
what else are we going to talk about? So that's a little bit about Sturgis. If anybody got questions about Sturgis, we can talk more about that. But the bands, what a lot of these bands do, which we knew somebody when we lived in a small town, they had a big county fair. And a lot of these bands send people out to they have a convention somewhere. I don't know where it's at. But they send all their people there. And it's the people that like to do rallies and fairs and all that kind of stuff.
Music festivals.
Yeah, stuff like that brings in, so a lot of them are the bands that just they're not popular anymore. They're coming back out, they can't fill a big stadium anymore. So they're coming to these venues to try to keep their names going, keep themselves alive, things like that. That's what you kind of look at. It's just like Elton John. He just sold out the big, I guess it was last night, sold out the big, the stadium that the Raiders play at.
The Allegiant Stadium.
Yeah, so it sold it
in
out.
Vegas.
So, there's that's the kind of person that's not going to come because you could just imagine, I don't know how many seats they got, 50,000 seats. And the average ticket was $100. So, that's a lot of money.
I'd say more than that.
Well, I'm saying average. There's probably seats that are $50 and there's some that's $300.
I think they'd probably start around $250 and go up.
I don't know. Have no idea.
Bands are nice to see. Bands by Les Rossmeyer. They were 5 or 6 years ago.
But then you also got to look at these bands because it's just like us traveling across. For us to go all the way down to Galveston and staying, now we would have stayed more days than what somebody else would have been, but we would have been only down there 5 days or something, 6 days at the most.
I think we were supposed to be down there yesterday. It came up in my phone, and we were staying through Sunday.
Yeah. So that would have cost us, counting the gas to get down there and back and everything else, would have been over $3,000. So when you look at some of these small bands that are hauling people around a bus and all that kind of stuff, it
adds up.
Yeah. And versus them playing local, like this band that guy had told me about. So the other thing I want to talk about, there is a massive recall of 200,000 trikes and touring bikes from Harley Davidson. That just came out the other day. Really, it's not that big of a deal. It's your brake light can come on when you're just riding down the road. So it could, what Harley says, it could confuse people behind you. Not like the moron that drives down the road with his foot on the brake in his car the whole time.
Or his blinker on. We were behind a guy the other day, he had his left blinker on forever, and then he went and turned right. So I don't know. Will there be an update on the location we get at Deep Lake?
No, you won't know that till the day we get there. On July 19th, we will tell you what area what section of that we have.
We'll have that many. They'll tell us how many people we've got coming.
Yeah, we'll know how many people's coming, and what we're looking at. What I want, which I don't know how many of you are here yet. I would like as far closest to the fence, closest to the road, because it's more of a. I think we counted it, but I think we already got more than that already. I think we counted it the day, was it 12 or something, or 15 there, and I got a feeling we were already over 20. And we do have a few people, I think, that have signed up because they've seen us, and we talked about how great it's going to be. It's going to be quieter. It's going to be dust. And I think we've got some people that are signing up in our area that are not typically maybe subscribers or even people that even watch our channel. They might have just clicked on it to see what was going on, which is possible, which I told one guy asked me, he wrote me, and I said, dude, just.
He said, that was me, Chad.
Okay. And so, no, it wasn't you. It was somebody else. It was another guy. And so it's which Chad's he was talking before, but that's fine. But I mean, I had another guy that actually, I don't know what he's doing at the rally. He actually said he's got a job and he was looking that he could get in and out of the buffalo chip the easiest way. So I don't know, unless that is Chad, but I think the email came from somebody else that I got. And I said, you could join us, that's not a big deal. But if you're going to be in our area where we're camping at, because if you just want to be in our same area, you don't have to call Carol. You can go online and book it. You just won't be in our area of our group of all of our people partying. Okay. You could be anywhere in those 50 to 100 spots that are there. So
Chad wants to know if there's going to be any group rides.
It'd
have to be before.
Well, yeah, you have to get there before. We might do something, we might go out to a dinner ride or something like that. I don't know. We don't really know. We already know a couple things. One, opening day, Friday is going to be really busy. We actually have somebody that's going to have a wedding there. One of our subscribers is coming in, and you guys are all invited to the wedding. Looks like we're going to do that opening day. They're actually, if it all goes right and they agree with it, we're going to come in with them leading the parade into the arena. So I'll make the Badgers a little upset, but hey, that's what Rod wanted, and that's what, hey.
I had my blinker on.
And so that's kind of neat and exciting. And probably all of you, if you want to be in the parade behind them, I don't know if he's picked anybody out to be in his wedding party or not. They're still getting all their things together because Rod said, hey, whatever you want, we'll do it. We'll make it happen.
Give me the plans and we'll make it happen.
So they've got it. They want flowers and whatever, the photographer and all that stuff. They need to set all that up on their own.
G. Ratham said back in 1990, somebody cut the fence line at the buffalo chip and everybody got in for free. Probably some kind of rat guy or something.
Never know. So yeah, can that happen? Well, they're actually redoing the back gate. You used to have that big giant opening. Can't see my arms. Big giant opening coming through the back. It's going to be different now.
Yeah.
They made that new little bridge last year. If you came through the back, you didn't notice it. It kind of went into the museum area there. They're tearing that building in front down. What is that called?
Rat hole.
Rat hole was their sales. It was a rat hole.
It was actually the people that ran the rat hole show. It was their thing.
Yeah, it was their booth. They sold their t-shirts stuff. But I mean, it was a ratty building to start with. They're going to tear that down, and you're going to come through there. So the idea is they're going to be able to keep track of people coming in and out.
We'll have a bunch of those. A group photo.
Yeah. So we'll do a lot of that stuff. We can fly the drone there, so we can put the drone up and everybody can wave to the drone and stuff like that over there by our area. So we got a lot of neat things going on. We're looking at doing a barbecue. Looks like we're going to have a cake party one night. And we'll have a bunch of other stuff that we're going to be doing. While we're working. Yeah, as it gets closer, we're going to be doing some lives from out there. They're going to be doing some new stages. All this is tentative. Because they've got a handful of guys that work year round and also depends on weather and all this stuff. So this is all the stuff they're trying to get done. They are putting some more electric and water RV sites that are coming up, which I'm not going to say where they're at because the people that are there now are going to be really upset because they're there all the time and now they're going to have to pay more money. So let them find out when they call. So
we're going to know, how is the bike and all the engine upgrades a month or two ago? Is it much nicer now?
Yes and no. So the upgrades is really happy. I'm really happy everything that I've done to the bike at this point. We started out with getting a new headlight put in the bike, the passing lights, got it fixed to where everything.
We can see in the dark.
Yeah, the high beams come on, the passing lights stay on, which I don't know why Harley ever turned that off anyway. So that worked out real good. So I'm happy with that. The next thing we got, we did some other stuff to the bike. I can't think of all the stuff we got. We got a new cup holder from Rick Rack. That worked real good. We got the bag from him. That worked real. Oh, we got shocks, Legend shocks. I'm still really happy with my Legend shocks that we put on front and back. Remember, if you're going to put anything on your bike, do your front first. Screw the back. Front first, unless you got one that's bottoming out and it's wore out in the back. Do your front. I had no idea, and the more I talk to people that actually install them and sell them, they say the same thing. Front is way more important on your Harley Davidson than the backs, because your bike won't be doing that nosedive when you hit the brakes and all that. And so do front first. So what else we did that? We had the engine worked on. And, I wasn't really looking for more performance out of my bike because it's a 110. It already had the bigger cam in it. We didn't really go up. I only gained a couple % of horsepower, 2 or 3%. That's it.
The Easy Start cams. You always.
And the Easy Start cam. And somebody said, why do you have the Easy Start cam? Because that motor's already got the whatever's on it. No, it's aftermarket. I can't think of the word. Because even in that, we were riding 127 degree temperature out here in Arizona Not very often, but we do ride in it.
Oh, the love jugs we got too.
And make sure that it doesn't start. It starts as easy as possible. And for a few dollars more, if I'm putting the cams in, then put the easy start, why not? The biggest thing was to get the oil pump replaced with the plate, where I've got 27 pounds of pressure sitting at an idle now. And I can tell that from my Dakota
Digital gauges.
That's right. Best. I should have bought them 20 freaking years ago. I had no idea what those things do. And the fairing exchange did those for us. If you're looking for some, they install them. And,
If you're going to be down at Galveston.
well, any of the rallies they're at,
Yeah.
they travel all over. So they don't. I think they only charge $100 or something to put them in. They're not very. They don't charge very much to put them in. Don't quote me 100. They might have went up on price, but they've done a bunch of them, and they buy directly from Dakota Gauges, so they got the warranty and take care of you all and all that good stuff. So I'm really happy with the gauge, because you can do quarter mile, you can do gas mileage, you can do, heck, the other thing almost does everything but wipe your butt. And so yeah, I'm really happy with those. We got the love jugs, love jugs. Now, since I got the temperature gauge, riding in the city like this when it's 115 degrees, I can see the difference with them off and on. It is 30 or 40 degrees cooler that engine runs when you're that hot. So definitely, we even had that problem we rode in California in Huntington Beach. If it got up in the 90s and you're idling through,
Yep, PCH and
if you've got a newer bike, the bike normally drops down to like a 1 cylinder at a time, so it tries to cool itself down. That never does that ever. I haven't had that ever since I had the love jugs put on. So another great money that I spent. Last thing we did was the Man of War, the compensator. Overall, I'm really happy with it, but I got a really weird noise now. It sounds like I got a bunch of rocks rattling around in it. So we took it back over here to our Henderson Harley Davidson dealer. They actually sell Man of Wars, and they're really experienced with it. They took it out and rode it, took it out, opened it up, and said, we can't find nothing wrong with it. We don't know what it is. So we went up to Speeds when we were out in Sturgis. We went up to the Speeds, the one in Rapid City, the main shop, Jason, and talked to him about it. And he's like, I don't think the Man of War, because the Harley dealer recommended go get another Man of War, put that on and see if it changes it, because the noise really didn't come till after that. So that's what I was going to do. And he said, why don't you? He knew a guy out here in Kingman that's a really good guy, a good dyno guy.
Drop the bike off.
Yeah, but my problem is if he says he wants to keep it, does he really want to keep the bike till next Wednesday? Come back and get it? I don't know.
Should have call him first.
And so he's going to look at it. They think I should have changed the chain. The chain is probably slapping around in there, which could be the problem. So, but we've already racked 1,500 miles up on it, so it's not doing any damage, because they just pulled the cover off when we were in Vegas after I've already rode 1,500 miles. Said they seen nothing wrong. So I thought the tensioner wasn't adjusting, and that's what was making the noise. What?
She said he's done on his treadmill now. He's very tired. He was trying to keep up with you, but he got run down. They want to know where you get all your energy.
Been that way all my whole life. Used to weigh $1.25 until I was like 35, almost 40 years old, before I gained any weight, because my metabolism was so fast. That's why when I talk, I'm already thinking about the next thing in my head. So if something interrupts me, I forget what I'm talking about now, because I was already thinking about the next thing. So sometimes it happens when I don't always finish a story.
There's Steven.
Because something will come up and then I'll jump onto that. So I try
He
not
does
to.
that a lot. He'll be talking about something and he'll just start talking about something else. And I'm like, I'm totally confused. And he's like, keep up. I'm like, well, you didn't tell me you were changing subjects. Holy
Blink,
cow.
blink, blink, blink. Change your subject.
That's what I need. Like the other, he says, I don't know how he said something about Speeds and going there and that guy. And I'm thinking, okay, this is totally out of the blue. And I'm thinking, Speeds, okay, Speeds, I know Speeds. And he's like, that guy.
No,
like
I said, you were standing at the counter when you talked to that guy from Speeds.
You did not say nothing about
Yes, I
standing at
did.
the counter.
You weren't listening.
If you would have said Kingman, that would have put it all together. But he just said Speeds and that guy and I don't know, something else.
I said Kingman.
You did not.
She just plays on her phone and she only hears, just like now, she can't read comments and listen to me.
Some of them I can. Not when it's a big long one. There's Cameron. Hey, Cameron.
So, there also is another, this is more serious. There is another recall on Harley Davidsons that came out a month or so ago.
That's not the brake light?
No,
No.
it's on the 1100 Sportster Nightsters. That's really serious. The welds on the handlebars could break.
Not good.
Yeah, went down the road and snap. Ah!
Well, what car did we have? Was that the Fusion? and there was a recall on the steering wheel, that the steering wheel would break off or something. And I'm like,
I got
get this fixed?
I got a recall on my truck. Oh, is it the tailgate falls open? I don't remember what it was. But parts will not be here till 2023. So don't call your dealer. They've got a Ford truck. There's a recall on it. So yeah, that's a little more serious. They just came out in 2022, so there hasn't been a whole lot of them. So if you've got one of those, you might want to call the dealership up and see if your bike is the one that they got the handlebars from. Because I guess it's a particular manufacturer that was welding the handlebars that had a crappy welder, I guess.
Do we have Vimo's videos on demand any? Do you guys use, oh, that's Harley One Forever. Vimo's videos on demand.
No, my Venmo videos go through my Patreon page. So no, I don't go through their let anybody buy them. I put them in our Patreon group, and that's where I leave them at. So I don't really fool with that.
Where do you think? What restaurants did you visit in South Dakota? We went to
this trip here.
We went to Pizza and Pasta.
Barbecue.
Oh yeah, we went to JR's Barbecue.
We ate at
Perkins.
American. Oh, we ate at American.
Loud American.
Loud American. We ate there. We ate at Perkins.
Yeah, it was right there in the
that
motel.
Was in Rapid City. Went to McDonald's. What else did
we didn't eat there. We just got tea.
Yeah, I guess we didn't. I guess that was about it.
We only eat twice a day, sometimes once a day.
So we ate Uncle Lou's quite a few times. I think we ate there 3 or 4 times for breakfast. I don't think we ate any. Oh yeah, we ate sliders the first day. I think we were there. I got the little sliders.
That was by ourselves because we met once with Rod there and once with Grizzly.
Yeah.
And then once we were by ourselves.
Yeah. So those are the places we hit. We didn't end up eating at the Knuckle, which after we went there, Knuckle had some.
Oh my gosh, it was a tater tot cheese something casserole. I was like, we should have came here. That sounded really yummy. But we'd just eaten at Loud American. That's the day we went around to the bars. Did you do that video yet?
No. I'm only going to do one a week. So I'm working on, the one we're working on now is, if you guys have never rode the West Coast of California, Oregon, we did that in the car. And we've told a bunch of you, if anybody would like to do this, maybe next year, we would set up a ride and do it. And we don't charge you nothing for it. It's just the motels and whatever you spend for gas and eat. But we're going to show you some of them. What we do different when I ride, I watch a lot of guys that have YouTube channels that talk about riding. You know, they're riding the West Coast, like those 3 or 4 guys that ride up and down the coast a lot. And they really don't show you places to stop. That's the only reason I really rode a motorcycle on trips, because I can pull over anywhere. We pulled over this trip here, which this isn't even in the car. We seen elk, which is the video we're getting ready to put out. We seen a moose. We seen orca whales, several of them. We've seen gray whales. We seen a bear, but he didn't get on camera. We seen, what else did we see? A bunch of turkeys.
Yep. And
what else did we see? That's just that. That's not even counting all the little roadside places we stopped at. We didn't drive through the tree. That's on the video. I'm not paying $20 to ride through the tree. It wasn't worth that to this trip. Not in a car. Motorcycle, I would have done it. But the video we got coming up is going to have some of the redwoods on there, showing you the redwoods going through there if you've never been there. And to be on a motorcycle, the film does not do you justice. To be on a motorcycle and stand next to it, like she's going to be in the video standing next to one of the trees. Because I said, go stand next to one of them so people can get a realistic of how big this sucker is compared to.
We've got one that, I guess we never did post that, did we? Picture of us, because there was a tree that was all cut out in the middle, and we stood inside of it, somebody took a picture of us. And the tree was like gigantic. You remember that?
I remember that, but I don't know where that video is at.
It's not a video. That guy took the picture of us. I don't think I posted it on Patreon or nothing.
So, I don't know.
Somebody wanted to know where we stayed at in Rapid City. That's another whole story.
Yeah, I was going to do a video on them, and because it's really a nice place. So basically everything that was in Sturgis, there was nothing under $70. And I didn't want to call anybody and say, hey, can you put us up if we come? And I just didn't want to ask anybody. So I started looking around. I'm like, I'm not paying $70 for whatever we're there 7 days. That's just too much money. So I ended up going on the price line, and I found a hotel in Rapid City, and I'll tell you the name in a minute. But I was like, I'm gonna look up the reviews on it. Well, nobody badmouthed the place. It's got a water slide in it. It's got a pool. It's got a hot tub. It's got pool tables, dartboards. It's got a bar that's actually called Cheers. That the bar actually is shaped and looks like the Cheers TV show. I don't think I videotaped any of it. And I'm gonna tell you why I didn't videotape any of that. But the rooms, what the only thing people said is the place is kind of dated. And it wasn't that it was old looking. It was like, it seemed like they had it, they wanted it in that era. Like there was stuff like the furniture chairs and stuff looked like it was from like the early
1800s, late 1800s, early 1900s.
They didn't have no back. They didn't have any padding on the back. It was just a thing on the seat. Small desk. The bed was actually very comfortable bed. We had, I don't know, was it a king size bed? I guess it was. Shower was a regular tub shower. They didn't give you a lot of stuff, shampoo and stuff, which we bring our own stuff anyway.
I just put it all up on the corner because I used all the.
We had a microwave. We had a refrigerator.
It froze things. It was so cold.
Yeah. But overall, it was a very good experience. One of the elevators broke, which we kind of was worried about it anyway. We got up and the elevator go.
Well, we were on the 4th floor, which is the top level. We pushed forward the last one of the days, second to last day, and it goes up, and it goes 2, 3, and it goes ding ding.
We got out on the 3rd floor.
And it was like, it's not on 4th and it's not on 3rd.
I hit 3 and the door opened and I was like, get the hell out. Before we stuck in here the rest of the freaking night.
So anyway, we're there like the first or second night, and your phones know exactly where you're at, and he gets a message. So this
pops up on my phone. And I won't tell you the name yet because I'll let you Google it afterwards. So it pops up and it's the picture of the front of the hotel. So everybody, I had no bad thing about this hotel. This hotel is packed every night we pull back in at night. One night we didn't get back because we went to the Pasta Corral and ate with them. And it was after 10 o'clock and we had a hard time even finding a parking spot. It was so crowded. So what it said on this thing is there was a shooting in this hotel back in, I think it was March, must have been March or April. There was a shooting on one of the floors this year, 2022. And it was done by 2 19-year-old kids.
Native Americans.
And they were Native American Indians. One of them was Running Bull or something, Running Bear. I don't know, something like that. You can look up. The other kid had a regular name. The other kid had an Indian name. So what's supposed to have been is there was an event going on there, which I have no idea what the event was. But I guess a lot of the rooms were rented by Native Americans, Indians. And so what ended up happening is there was a shooting in the hotel. There was a cop out front doing something. Well, there's all this construction that's been going on for 2 years out there at this exit. And
Lacrosse Street.
So it's a real pain in the butt. So there was a cop out there, and I guess I didn't see no security there, but they said the security guard ran out and told the cop, hey, there's a lady cop. I think we've had a shooting. We heard a gunshot. So she ran over, and when she got on the floor, she seen this other guy run out the door. Well, they caught up with him a while back, and he had a .45 in his hand. And that ended up being what shot the other kid. So what ended up supposed to
Did the kid die?
Yeah, he died a couple months later. So what ended up happening was the girl that was with the guy that was in the room had issues. I don't know if he was being abusive to her. It doesn't really say. It just said that she had her stuff in the room and wanted to get her stuff out of the room, but she was scared to death to go in there because he was going to cause problems. So they went in. So this other kid, 19 years old, said, I'll go get your stuff. So they unlocked the door with a key card, opened the door and said, hey, dude, I'm coming to get so-and-so stuff. Well, then there was an argument and a gunshot. Okay. So there we are. So those people all leave. So the older lady owns the hotel, grandma, writes on social media, Facebook, I'm not allowing another effing Native American ever in this hotel ever again. They're boycotted. They can't come in. First of all, you can't say that. You can always say I have a right to refuse to serve anybody, but you can't pick a group of people. It's discrimination. So what the article I got was the DOJ was looking into this. And I'm like, holy crap, DOJ?
That's what popped up with it.
And so I started reading some articles on this. So what was supposed to happen was, I guess after that came up, some Native American Indians decide they're going to book a room. They just show up and say, we want a room. And they said, nope, can't have one. Get your butts out of here. So they left. And so they must have called the AFL-CIO or whoever. They sent some people in. Well, they got approached by somebody with an AR-15 and told them to get the heck out of here before we shoot you. So now there's this big old thing. What's this new place called?
Grand Gateway.
Yeah.
Motel.
Hotel. Very, very nice. I was going to do a video on it because the people, they had a black girl, because that's what somebody else.
They said discrimination.
Yeah, they said they discriminate. I'm like, they got a black girl working at the counter. They got Mexicans doing the house cleaning. There was a black girl doing house cleaning. There was a variety of people. Was there any Native Americans there? No, I didn't see any. I guess not. So the noise was, so there's where we stayed. It was $44 a night. And I kind of worried the last couple of days, but what's really weird about it is there's nobody protesting. There's nobody picketing out front. There's
You would
nobody.
think there would be a lot of stuff going on, but
There ain't nothing going on. You would never know by being in the hotel that there's any issue.
people don't take that do not disturb sign seriously enough. He said the other guy's name was Running with Bullets.
You can Google it. Grandview, was it Grandview?
Grand Gateway Hotel.
Let me look and see.
That's what it was. Grand Gateway. It was a very nice place. Like I said, the bed was excellent.
Gateway,
We probably never slept so good in a
Rapid City.
long time. Causes Rapid City racism.
Grand Gateway Hotel at Rapid City. It's got 3.8 stars.
That would have been too obvious. Rapid City racism would have been too obvious.
I mean, it was. Google the place. It's really, really nice.
It is.
And until I Googled, like I say, it popped up in my, and I did a search on it. I said, look for reviews. I thought somebody would have said something about it. But then there was all this controversy about it that I guess the grandson or something kind of is the manager. So when they came in to ask questions, the newspaper, the TV or whatever, they all said, I'm running the place. My grandma has nothing to do with it. Well, they went and ran records and the hotel's in her name.
Well, they were very nice too, because we said, do you have any place like a business office or something if we need to do a couple
Yeah, we did lives from up there.
They gave us, they said, here, they ran us a card. This is the ballroom or no, the boardroom.
Yeah.
It was where you can have an office meeting.
Yeah.
And we did 2 lives or made 2 videos from up there.
Yeah. So they were very nice. I had no complaints. The pool was clean, plenty of towels. We didn't eat there. The Perkins is right next door to it. You go out one door and into theirs. Perkins really didn't have hardly nobody there, but
everybody, I think we ate there during the rally too, before the rally. And they said, we only have 2 people. They have somebody to seat you, take your order, clean the tables, and somebody in the back cooking.
So we got more breaking news going on. We kind of touched on it in one of our videos the other day.
Did you do the Sturgis video hotels yet?
I haven't done none of that yet.
Okay. Hey, somebody just asked.
So we've got breaking news that we're going to tell you that Myrtle Beach Harley Davidson is in the process of selling out. We have not found out who it is. We're assuming it's one of the big automotive groups that's probably trying to gobble them up. So we'll have to wait and see. Some of our sources that are there, they're getting a little bit, but they're really trying to say hush hush about it. The guy that actually owns Myrtle Beach is probably a great guy. Some of the media staff that they have that they ought to adios.
When I was looking through the thing, I found her, but he was not listed anywhere on their staff.
Maybe they broke up.
What do you think, Stephen? Have you seen him there? Rick says if you go out west or out east, go to the underground caves and tunnels made by early weather. They are nice to see when you go to places. We were from the Midwest. We used to go to Merrimack Caverns all the time and Onondaga Cave. And
we also went to the mine.
What mine? The
mine down by your grandma's house. We stopped at that iron mine or whatever it was.
Down in Piedmont, Missouri.
That's a scary mine to go through.
Karen wanted to know what's going on with all this Harley Davidson stuff. Oh, about people selling, probably.
Yeah. Well, it looks like if you guys watched the video I just put up just the other day on Denver, we didn't want to mention the dealership's name because it's one of the ones we don't highly recommend. But if you look at the dealership, it'll explain why they have so many bikes. What's ended up happening now is a lot of these dealerships are joining organizations. Like this one, for instance, has 30 or 40 dealerships already that they've gobbled up. They've actually gobbled a lot more than that they've closed up to get more bikes for their dealerships. So in turn, these bigger dealerships have more buying power. It's kind of like Bruce Rossmeyer's. They used to have
New Smyrna.
And the only reason they had that was to buy more bikes. And the new owners are like, no, we don't want that. We don't need that. And so the idea is what these big dealerships do is they have more bikes to offer now. So if you go to a dealership and say, hey, I'm looking for a military trike, I want one of the new ones. The odds are they've got one in one of their 40 dealerships, or just like the guy that owns ours, he's got what, 7 or 8 of them now. Yeah. But at least he's an individual. We want to talk to him, make sure he doesn't sell out. But
I know. I was thinking. I had a dream. I was like, once we heard about this one, I was like, I hope he doesn't sell out, but because he's got 7, I think.
well, what's nice about him is he lets all the dealerships run themselves. He lets the management take care of it. He's got one guy that overlooks it. He pops in once in a while and looks at them all, but other than that, he lets them go, and which is great versus trying to take a dealership. And I think what's happening with this automotive is because look how expensive a freaking car is now. You're going to spend $50,000 to $80,000 for a decent vehicle that's going to last you a couple of years. So look how much they've gone up. Just in our lifetime, my sister bought a 74 Gremlin back in the day, and I think she paid $995 for it. That's $995 for a brand new car. And so cars have jumped a lot in price over 40 years. Motorcycles the same way. Well, you figure maybe if a car dealer, this is my thinking, is that a car dealer.
Steven says he talked to Phil, the owner, and he said he's not selling.
Don't believe everything you hear.
Well, Phil's the owner.
Yeah, but he doesn't. He may not want to let everybody know. It's kind of like what we've heard from, like right now, if you to call Shelly Rossmeyer, she'd probably tell you, I'm not selling. Because she's not until she gets the money in her hand. So he wants to sell it in Myrtle Beach. He wants to sell. So
because his son doesn't really want anything to do with it.
So I'm saying that they are probably already been picked up. Somebody's already looking at, they're a pretty good dealer. They're not the biggest dealer. They're not the smallest dealer. They're probably a little bit better than
5 stores.
Yeah, they're a little bit bigger than a medium grade store. They sold like 60 bikes during the hurricane time. So, that was pretty good. So they've got a pretty good staff of people that work there other than a couple of people. But overall, the rest of them are decent people.
Steven said he hasn't seen him lately.
Maybe they had Hostis, but you need to send her down the road too.
Well, it looked like somebody just passed away there. It was their IT guy, which I would have thought maybe would have been him, but it wasn't. So that's some of the things. The other thing I want to talk about a little bit that I actually just seen today, and it's been going on for a little while. There could be no diesel gas right after Thanksgiving. It looks like the United States has been selling way too much diesel fuel to everybody else, and we may run out, which affects our trains. It affects our truck drivers. It affects people that have generators that run on diesel. They're going to quit running. So there's a lot of things. This country's going to stop moving. Most trains are running on diesel fuel. Also, there's already rationing we're hearing in New York on fuel oil that people heat their houses with. That's not good, especially winter.
Yeah.
Well, I had heard an article they said over in Europe that I don't know what all happened, but anyway, they said half of London could freeze this winter because they don't have enough fuel to heat everybody.
Yeah, because they want everybody to go green.
So Leo wanted to know how many business did y'all run, what type, and when did y'all get started? How did y'all get started?
In what business?
How many businesses have we all had?
A lot. I started out my very first business. I was 19 years old, and I had a service station. I had a Skelly service station right inside of Peru, Illinois. Got into that. What ended up happening to me, I started out at a Ford dealership when I was in high school. And I was working there part-time. And in 79, if anybody was alive at that time, there was a big deal when I worked for the Lincoln Mercury side of Ford. And nobody wanted to buy those big Lincoln Mercurys when the gas went up. So, of course, I'm the last guy that got hired. So I just turned full-time. We just had gotten married, and I got laid off. We were this close to going in the buddy system in the Air Force. We were all ready, but all we had to do yet is
take the physical.
And we would have been gone the next week. And so I ended up seeing this gas station. My mom and dad moved up to Peru, Illinois, and it's right on Interstate 80. It's about 45 minutes to an hour away from Chicago. So they were up there. We went and visited them. I seen that gas station had a sign in the window, said for rent. And I said, hey, Dad, why don't you call them and see what they want for that sucker? Well, meanwhile, he found the Chevrolet dealer that was looking for somebody up there. So I couldn't get anything. There was nothing. I was in the St. Louis area. There was nobody hiring anywhere. My brother was welding on trains, and they didn't need nobody. And so it was like, we're going to go in the front service. So he said, you want to come up here? It's not as much money as you making at the Ford dealer, but so we're like, let's go. So I went up there. I worked there about, 3 to 6 months. Meanwhile, my gas station started. I got the gas station, $650 a month rent. And you made money on the gas, and it was a 2-bay shop. So I called one of my buddies up that lived down in Southern Illinois, worked at this gas station since he was in high school. Never gave him a raise, nothing. I said, dude, why don't you come up here and we'll see how this works out. So he quit his job, moved up to Peru, and he kind of ran the station all during the day. And at night I came, helped him. We pumped gas. We're very busy at first because the station had been closed. We pumped gas. We had a full service and a mini service. Mini service, just put gas in. Full service, did the whole
Had
9
to
yards.
pump all the gas.
And because we wanted to get what you did, we had a really good
Clientele.
Yeah. And so then the garage started getting busier and busier. And then I got to the point where I started going to these auctions. I was buying tire machines and Chilton magazines and all books and all this stuff I was buying at auctions. And the guys that work where I worked at were like, what are you buying all that stuff for? Oh, it's a hobby. I got a hobby. So one day I go into work and I'm like, I got to tell them I got to leave. The station's too busy. My buddy Brian can't handle it anymore. I need to get down there. So I walk in the door and I went to my boss and I said, man, I need to talk to you. He says, I need to talk to you too. And he's like, you go ahead and go first. And I'm like, all right. I said, I got to give you my notice. I said, if you haven't figured it out, I got a gas station now over there in Peru and I need to do it. And he's like, wow. And I'm like, why? What did you have? He says, I was actually going to lay you off today because we're hurting for money now. So it all worked out good. So it all worked out. I had the gas station for 4 years. What happened there was every year, like clockwork, they doubled my rent. The more money so finally I said, screw that. I could buy a building better than that. So I went down back to Illinois, down to Southern Illinois, and her dad, and I bought this acre lot that had a 2-bay garage on it. It used to be an old Texaco station, which her dad used to run.
Texaco station.
And the motel used to be next door, which they didn't have anymore. And well, it was better to date somebody that had a motel room. And plenty of motel rooms. So I end up going in there, and the bad thing there is I got a small business loan. Don't ever get a small business loan unless you plan on paying it off the rest of your life. What small business does is they sell your bond. Well, at that time in 84 or 5,
no, it was 80. Kimberly was born in 83, so it was 83, 84.
Yeah, so 84, because 83, she was born up there.
Yeah.
So in 84, we went down there, and the interest rate was a lot higher, whatever it was, 12%. And so I had it for a couple of years. My brother was working with me. We had a car lot in the back. My dad ended up quitting his job. He ran a car lot I had out back. I sold cars out front. Worked on them. We ran a rider trucks. We had a pipe bender, bent exhaust, did all the brakes. We were brakes and mufflers. That's what we specialized in. And what ended up happening, my brother decided he didn't want to work with me no more, and he left. So then I was by myself. So I had another mechanic that worked for us, who was working when my brother was there. And we had a couple other part-time people working. And it just got to be, I just was never picking up business like I wanted to. Bad thing was wasn't very good at selling stuff back then. So I went to sell the business, thought we had a good deal on it. The guy backed out at the last minute, and then they sold it to somebody else. But I found out that the interest rate dropped down to like 6%. I had to pay, because they sold your bond at 12%. I had to give this guy the difference of money
that he wasn't going to make over the next 10 years.
So I ended up losing. I didn't make any money when I sold the business. So there I went to work for everybody else. I worked for Midas. I sold Mac Tools for a while. I got in the truck for that. Bad news, trying to give people credit. Not a good thing when it's your money.
Because he's responsible. If somebody buys a $10,000 toolbox, if they don't pay for it, he's got you.
Even if they're financed through the company. So I did that for, I don't know, a couple of years, 3 or 4 years, and then never really made big on that. I liked doing it, but it was a lot of work, and it just, mechanics move around so much, it's hard to keep track of your money, and if they're gone, you just lost that money.
You got a tire store.
Yep. So then I worked at a tire store. I worked for Firestone. I was a manager of another tire store. We moved to Missouri. I was a service or general manager there. And then the guy was kind of a butthole, and I ended up go work for his brother at the other side. I went back to turn on wrench. I could make more money in less hours. I was working like 60 hours a week.
Well, he thought it was a great job, but he was working 7 days a week, almost 12 hours a day. I said, figure that up per hour. He was making like $2 an hour.
So I decided to go over there. I went to lineman school, learned how to do alignments, and I already knew how to do brakes. So I got to do lineman, front brakes, and did car inspections, truck inspections.
And while I was doing that, on the side, we were DJing.
Yeah, so we started a DJ company, and we did that before. I worked for a dad for a while. He had a Meineke, and then he opened up his own shop, told me that he would let me run it on my own, and he would never leave. So finally I said, well, actually, we were doing karaoke. We were doing karaoke in bars, and I was working like 3 or 4 nights a week. And he comes up one day and goes, you need to make a decision. You need to do that damn karaoke, whatever it is, or work here in the shop. And I said, goodbye. I said, all right. Shouldn't give me options. And so I did. I left, and we started doing karaoke, and she didn't like me working in the bars. And so what ended up happening was our daughters started to get towards high school age. If you know anything about Southern Illinois and St. Louis and East St. Louis, I don't need to tell you anything else. We got to we went to the same high school that our kids would have went to. And it wasn't so bad when we were there. People smoked dope and stuff, but I mean, it wasn't that bad. But now people, they got metal detectors and they're having gang fights out in the parking lot. And her cousins, which were older than our daughter, said, do not send your kids to the Belleville West High School. So we're like, okay, now what are we going to do? So she found a job back in the town that I was there for a couple of years, a small town. It's called Washington, Missouri. Great town to go to. Not racist, but it's 99.9% white folks. And if you're hitchhiking through town, they pick you up at the edge of town and give you a free ride to the other side of town. Get on out. Great town to live in. Kids could ride on their bike. I don't know if it's still that way or not. The kids could ride their bikes on the street. Didn't have to worry about it. Everybody watched out for everybody else. Took care of everybody. So you didn't have to worry. So we were down there. That's when I started working for the tire store manager. And she got a job doing her radiation therapy at a cancer center that they just opened down there. So that was going pretty good. And so I still wanted to do the DJing. We already had some equipment and stuff. And we had done one wedding. And she's like, if we could do this again, I'd rather do weddings than do the bar thing. Well, we did do some bars, but we had a lot better bars now than what we had before. And ended up having.
But the name of the business was called Total Entertainment. And so back in the day, to advertise, you got in Yellow Pages. And so the guy's like, why don't we put Total Entertainment, all that the name implies? And it's like, all right, that sounds good. We got all kinds of calls for all kinds of stuff. Clowns.
We did a mail review, and we've done events like that. And
do you guys do escorts?
No, we don't have any of those. I can arrange that for you, but I don't.
So when the guy come back next year, I said, no, scrap that line.
And so it ended up, the business got busier and busier and busier. And the same thing, I ended up quitting there, and I went into full time doing the DJs. We got a storefront. We had 18 employees. And I had vehicles. I had about $100,000 worth of sound equipment. We did video. Got into doing videography for weddings. We did decorating. She decorated weddings. We sold invitations. It was a really good business. We got to be the people. We even got to wear in St. Louis. We weren't the cheapest in the world, but if you wanted somebody good, you hired us. And we were almost like the wedding singer. We choreographed weddings for people. We did wedding ceremonies. We did everything about weddings. And I should have wrote a book on it. Everything ABCs about weddings and receptions, because most people have no clue what they're doing and they don't really enjoy themselves. And so we did that, and I had that business till what happened was after 9/11. Well, first of all, some of the people, one of my first employees I hired, stayed with us all the way through the whole thing. Brad was his name. Isn't he? We had another guy that our girl Carla, she worked for us for a long time too. Those were the two longest employees that I had all along. We had other people that just kind of rotated through the system. And other than the kids work for us, all of our kids work for us. And so after 9/11, what happened was we usually do a bridal show in January. We usually book anywhere from 20 to 40 jobs that day at this wedding show. And we get 50% of the money up front. Well, January, February, March, we really don't do anything. A few parties here and there, but not enough to pay the bills. So normally that's what carries me over till wedding season. And then wedding season starts, we do as many as 8 weddings in a day. So in Fridays, and then we do parties all week long, birthday party. We've done 90-year-old birthday parties, and we've done
nursery schools.
We've done nursery schools, and we've done high school dances, middle school dances. Yeah, we've done it all. Even done Mexican events that I had no idea, and they were actually surprised we couldn't speak any Mexican, but we knew how to play the music. And
Mike says they need your wedding services for August 4th.
Yeah. I thought about bringing it for karaoke, but I don't know. That's more crap I got to drag along, and because we're going to go to Milwaukee first. So that's what we did. And then after 9/11, a couple things happened. One, that wedding show, we booked one wedding. And it's like, holy crap. People in Missouri
thought the world was ended.
That's right. That they were canceling weddings. They'd call us up and say, I'm canceling. Because we didn't give a deposit back. You could rebook it for another day, but no deposits were returned. Your day was booked. That's the way life is. And so people would cancel. And it was like, holy crap. Well, then I started having some of my employees that had been a long time. They didn't want to start working all the time anymore. They wanted to quit. They maybe do it once a month. We're booking weddings year to 2 years in advance. That's how far weddings were booked out with us. And because, May, June, we're already gone 2 years in advance, the main Saturdays. And so that started happening. Well, what happened was we had a trip planned. She has fibromyalgia. That's one of her ailments she has. And it started 25 years ago. It started longer than that, I guess.
93.
And so we started going to California to find a specialist that would treat her. So every 6 months we went to California. So we decided that year, we always did our vacations in February or March. And so we went out there, and so we were getting ready to go out there, and I already booked everything. I paid everything on Priceline. Back then, you paid for it. You got, no refunds, no nothing, no matter what happened. So we had like $2,800 for car rental, motel, and airlines. She goes, well, maybe we shouldn't even go. We ain't got the money to spend. I said, hey, we already spent that money. Even if we just go sit in the hotel and sit in the pool all week, it'd be better than pissing the money away. So then I thought, why don't you go out, because she was a radiation therapist, go out and see if you could find a job to justify. I always wanted to go to California. And she was going to do it maybe after our oldest daughter got out of high school. So youngest daughter. So we decided that, hey, let's go look for jobs. So she ended up going on 18, 20 interviews. She loved it because she was interviewing people. Well, she got offered 3 jobs while we were out there. The last one offered to give her 3 times the money that we were making in St. Louis, offered to pay us out there, move us out there, offered to a sign-on bonus and everything. So it was like, but we had to decide, we had to be out there in 3 months. So we moved. Because we thought,
taking our youngest daughter kicking and screaming.
Yeah, she was a senior in high school. So that's where we stopped. So from there, I stopped. And when I went to California, my first job was I worked at Knott's Berry Farm. I did lighting for the Halloween haunt. During that time, I applied for SoCal Gas. I became a meter reader. 8 months later, I was a full-time employee. I worked 17 years there as a gas technician.
He's ever had.
It was a great job because you got a little truck, you did your job, you took care of your customers, and I do crap right. I'm going to fix something, I'm going to do it right, and that's the way it is. I don't beat around the bush. I don't complain. Just do it. So
we both made good money.
Yeah, big money we made.
Took our California money and ran.
That's right. So once she started she got to where she couldn't with her motorcycle wreck, and she fell a few times. She messed up her hip. She can't stand, can't walk. You see her now scooting around a little bit on the chairs. And because she can't sit too long, she can't walk too long, she couldn't work anymore. So I sent her out here to the Arizona house. My mom passed away and left us enough money to put down on a house in Arizona. Knew we could never live in California. So we bought this house 10 years ago, I guess.
2015.
And we bought this house, and so we just came out on the weekends and fixed it up and all that kind of. It was 10 years old when we bought it. Didn't need a whole lot. Painted it, put new tile in, did a bunch of other stuff, but didn't do a whole lot. Built a bar on the other side. So that's where we stopped. So from there, for 8 months to a year, I still lived in California, and she was living here. We seen each other every 2 weeks for 3 days. And after about 8 months, I said, life's too short. I've had way too many friends that died. And if something happened to one of us, the other one's going to regret the time, because we've been together pretty much. We're very seldom, for a long time, we were never separated, except for going to work. And I think when I went to the union, it was probably the first time I was separated for more than
like a weekend or something. Yeah. If you went out somewhere.
Yeah. So then we decided that hey, I'm going to retire. We've got enough money. We'll be all right. So from that, I've got to do something.
I told him when he retired, you better do something, because otherwise you're going to drive me crazy. Can you tell? So Ryder X is being very quiet.
Why?
I don't know. He just said, hi, I'm here. And then he just said hi to Jerry, and that was it.
He's been awful quiet.
He has.
We don't see much action from him. And
so that's our story. That was all the businesses.
Yeah. So we did that. So we started the YouTube. We started that in actually 2019, December is when my channel actually went live. And we were looking at, we've had people all of our life always want to know what we do on the weekend, because I'm always gone. We're always doing something.
Ask the kids.
So we thought, let's just do a YouTube channel. And we were going to get an RV. Anyway, we're going to do some traveling, because she couldn't ride the bike as much anymore. And we'd see what was going on. So went to the Tampa RV show and visited friends down there.
RV thing.
And had some fun doing that. And the channel wasn't doing a whole lot. I think we got 100 subscribers. And by the time we got to Sturgis in 2020, I think we had about 600 or 800 subscribers. Well, then we blew up. We gained 6,000 subscribers in Sturgis the very first year we went. So after that, they always say you have to have a niche. Well, that's our niche.
You got to figure that out.
Is motorcycle community. So typically it's more rallies than anything else. People come to us for information. And we want to be different from everybody else, because there's a million YouTube channels out here, a billion probably. But I mean, there's probably a million that are doing motorcycle stuff. So that's why we thought, I've always liked helping people. I like that. I enjoy doing that, helping people trying to get, work things out for you, solve problems for people. So that's when we decided to do what we do. We wanted to start going to rallies and give you guys good information, things to do, because when you go to these stupid motorcycle rallies, there's nobody out there that links everything together. Oh, there's some apps out there, but those apps are just trying to sell you stuff, sell the vendors ads. They're not there really to help you. And they want people to call them, not them call them. So we thought, well, let's try to get as much information as we can. Well, the tough thing is a lot of these bars and stuff, they don't even know what the hell they're doing until the day before the rally starts.
A lot of them.
So that was part of the problem. The other thing is my buddy Art, which he's working the night. He only comes usually on Sundays, but he got screwed by a guy on a fairing long time ago. We bought it here in Laughlin, and the paint peeled, and he paid a lot. He paid like $1,500 back then for the radio, and they crimped the wires, and the guy basically told us to F off when we called him and complained about
having trouble.
And so then that's what I wanted to find you guys good vendors that stand behind their work. So that's why we started doing the vendor videos to say, hey, here's what this guy does. Here's what Dan Kite does. Here's what Rick Rack does. Here's Amsoil Adam. Meet him. He does this and this and this. And we wanted to give you people that they would stand behind their products. And a lot of people, a lot of guys will tell me, hey, I had problems with this, but yet I called them and they took care of it for me. Well, that's what we want. Same thing with the dealers that we sponsor. We don't sponsor them, but I mean, we give shout outs for them. If we want to be that middleman to help you if you have problems. And because that's a lot of money. People are spending 20 grand or more at these rallies for lights and stuff. And hey, if it quit working next week, you're like, holy crap, now what do I do? When I got to wait till next year and they come back to Daytona or Sturgis to get it fixed. So that's kind of how we started it all. Well, the bad news is when we're not having rallies going on, we lose a lot of our views. We have, like right now, I don't know, what do we got on here? 69 people are watching according to this. Your phone might look different. So we're not getting the draw that I get during a rally. A rally, we probably got 500 people watching Main Street on Sturgis. So that's when we've been kind of looking at what can we do. Well, we thought by changing the videos to giving you more one item in one video. Like, we're just going to cover buffalo chip today, and tomorrow's will be full throttle and all that. Well, we didn't do very good this year, 2022, at the rally, money-wise.
So on YouTube, what they say, if your views start dropping off, go back to your original videos and start from there.
So we went back and talked to people, and a lot of them that were our regular subscribers said they really liked the videos we did in 2021, where we showed you like 10 different things we did all day. Then you could pick out of those 10.
What you wanted to do.
Yeah, I don't want to sit there and watch an 8 to 10 minute video on a buffalo chip if I have no interest in the buffalo chip. So the other way, which you might say, well, why are you doing the buffalo chip in 2023? Well, the idea of why we're doing the buffalo chip in 2023 is until we stayed there in 2021, I had no idea how big, how much stuff is going on there. It's like a Disneyland for adults. And there is nothing like this for the motorcycle community. Nothing. Glencoe doesn't compare to that. Full Throttle doesn't compare to that. Most of these other venues that you go to, Galveston doesn't really have a campground there for motorcycles. There's a guy that's running the city park, the county park.
Oh yeah, it's out at the fairgrounds.
But I mean, it's got really nothing to do with Galveston. It's just this guy happens to do it at the same time. But it's it depends on what you want. If you want to go to something really wild, you want to run around naked, then yeah, go to Glencoe. But I mean, you can do that in
Buffalo Chip if you wanted to.
Yeah, and there was girls running around on golf carts that had no clothes on. So it's just different. And so
it says because it's the best party anywhere.
And it is. There's a lot of fun. So that's what we wanted to do this year. They actually want to, which he's never put nothing in writing yet, but he really wants us to stay there for the next 3 to 4 years and do this with him, and then help him build his channel up and build our channel up and do more stuff like that, because it's the only nice thing I like about Rod at the Buffalo Chip is he even has pay-per-views. They had Easy Rider magazine was selling, you could see some of their events live. I could stand right next to them and film it. You could see it tomorrow for free. And Rod doesn't care because he looks at it.
Exposure.
That's what he does. For him. There's people watching our channel that doesn't watch Amsoil Adam. And there's people that Amsoil Adam has that doesn't watch our channel. But I mean, that's just an example.
So the more people you get there, the more people you got filming, the more chance you got to get your name out there.
And so we want to work with him because we've tried that out of all the cities we deal with, Sturgis is the most welcoming to us, most welcoming to you. No matter what you think about Sturgis and the community, they are all about motorcycles. That is their livelihood. South Dakota is their livelihood. They love the motorcycle rally. Every town around them. I haven't found a town yet that's like Daytona or Myrtle Beach that do everything they can to stop you from coming through their town. Here, most of them in South Dakota, they'll line up the street and let just bikes park there. Where else did they do that at? Oh, Daytona's got it on their main street. Yeah, but half the day they're allowing cars driving up and down it. So it's only when they feel like closing it down. They really don't want you there. And Myrtle Beach is the same way. They don't really want you there. But most of these rallies like this, Galveston, I think down there, the people that run Galveston, I think they actually rent that whole area. That's why they close it off, charge you to park, because we have never sat down and talked to them about it, but I believe they're responsible for everything. They're paying for the police, the fire department, everything that goes on down there.
Everything.
All that is paid for through that organization, and you get the $15 a person or whatever it is to park. That's what it was last year.
Go through that straight
main drag.
Strand Street.
And it's a nice party and it's a good time. And but it is what it is.
Supposed to be nice and warm down there this year.
Yeah, supposed to be in the 70s all week.
Yeah. Saturday is like 57% chance of rain, I think I saw, but 57, that's 50-50, I'd say.
So I guess we never got Adam to write back because we asked him if he wanted to go on the night and he never did write me back. Oh, somebody did.
There you go. Mom said she's coming back from Australia.
I just saw this message. Sorry, I can't right now. We're still trying to finish setup and have dinner in Galveston. So no Amsoil Adam. He had a lot of trouble setting up, he said today. So
Mom said coming from Australia, she loved it so much this year. They're coming back in 2023. There you go, Mom.
That's why I always tell people when you go to Sturgis the first time, it is overwhelming. And almost all rallies are that way. You go to Daytona, it's kind of overwhelming because you just don't know where everything's at. And that's the part we tried to link with you. It's just like Daytona. I don't know how many more years we'll do Daytona. We're definitely doing the spring next year. Just because there's some bars, like No Name Bar does the pudding wrestling. We still haven't made it down there. I wanted to spend a whole evening at Cackleberry. Haven't been able to do that. Other than that, that's really the only last two big things I wanted to do. So after that, fall rallies we're probably not going to do. We're also hearing from some of the vendors that this fall rally trip really
hasn't panned out for them.
Well, you look at the price of gas is really high now. It's costing the vendors more money. You know, they're probably having to pay people more money. All these states are trying to raise their minimum wage and stuff like that. So it's tough. She says, I don't know how these people, pay all this money. It's like us. If we would be a vendor, we'd have $3,000 out of our pocket. Well, that's just getting there. Minus campground, but then you gotta pay to rent a spot. So like in Sturgis, it's $5,000 to $10,000 to rent a spot. So it would cost us about the same amount of money to get there. So you figure 10, 12, 13, about $13,000 just to get there and rent my spot. I gotta make that
to break even.
That's not even counting. That's just saying, whoops.
Did we
lock up?
No, I don't know. I thought we did too.
Is it still moving there?
Yeah, I guess.
All right. Thing went jerky.
It looked like we just
So
died.
you got to make, and then you got help. You got to pay them money. So I don't know how. I can see somebody like Rick Rack that does a lot of work. I can see them making money off of this. But I mean, some of these places we go by, their booths, they're not hardly doing nothing. And then the bigger rallies charge more money. The smaller rallies just don't drag the people in. So we'll have to see how this all turns out. We've already talked to a few vendors that said they don't know if they'll do the fall rallies next year. They may pull out. Ones that are in Florida, Dan Kite and stuff's probably going to do them all because he's right. It's in his neighborhood.
Yeah,
Fair and Exchange, they're right from there. So a lot of people are down in the southern states probably would still consider.
Or the East Coast.
Yeah, might consider still doing it. But farther people like Amsoil Adam or some of the ones that are up the coast might decide, hey, this just isn't justifiable. All this work getting there.
Get a biggie bag. Somebody said they'd save us a seat at Wendy's. Cackleberry's good for a couple of days to party, but Daytona's done.
Yeah. And it's sad that the rallies, and I'm actually afraid of this. I'm afraid of the next 10 years or less, this will be done. We'll lose the excitement. And it's even like with the Sturgis when we sat there through the city's meeting, there's a lot more people coming in cars, which is a good thing. There's still people spending money, but it's not the bikes there anymore. You're getting more, and I see that in Panama City last year during the spring. There was a lot more cars around that were at watching the concerts and stuff than there was bikers at the concerts. So, and it's like a lot of these rallies you go to, what else are you going to do? Black Hills is great because you got all these great little bars to go to. You got all these great riding you can do. There's a lot of things to do. But you look at like Daytona or Panama City or Galveston, unless you're sitting on the Strand or you're looking at the vendors, there's a few bars down there on Main Street. But I mean, they're more like the bars like you would see in San Diego or Los Angeles on a main drag. They're not really biker bars. They're more yuppie bars, if you want to say something about it. And so it's not, I don't know, it is boring. It's not, and that's what a lot of people tell us, isn't all these rallies basically the same? Yeah, they are a lot of the same. If they've got good riding, that's something. But Florida sucks. Florida doesn't, no matter what you say, Florida's riding sucks. Riding around the loop is not a challenge. And riding around the loop, I don't know. People say, well, that's such a great ride.
It's pretty.
We've done it once, done it, been there, probably never do it again. I'll just keep showing the same video of the first time we did it to let you know. If you've never done it, everybody talk about it. Yeah. To ride down the coast, they got such high sandbars, you can't even see the water.
So Trixie Blue said there's a lot of people moving to Florida too. It's getting more crowded.
Yeah. And now with the hurricane, there's another big mess going on down there. And hopefully they won't have any more like that go through the middle like that and tear, overall, Florida hasn't done too bad with hurricanes. It's
not really. The only thing
more Panama City, the foot there that gets more of the damage than anything else in Louisiana and stuff like that. But I don't know, rallies. I think if I was a vendor, if I was putting on these rallies, I wouldn't do a fall rallies. I would do a summer rally. If anything else, I'd add a week to my summer rally, but I wouldn't justify trying to fire something up because yes, you go to these other rallies, especially ones in Florida, in Myrtle Beach, they're only half or a quarter of what it is during the spring rally. Why go to all that work and all that trouble for it? I don't know.
So I forget what I was going to say now. Somebody said something here. A lot of people moving to Florida. Oh yeah. On Beach Street, they don't really do anything anymore. There's the Indian dealer there and the Euro bikes, I guess the BMW dealer. That's the only thing on Beach right now. They don't have any vendors, anything like that. It's all at Destination Daytona. So Adele. And then Rider said, did I tell you the ride from St. Augustine to Daytona every day really sucks? Yes, you have. Bike Week is a nice break from Colorado winter. Oh, that's why.
Which it is. A lot of people I can see going in the spring. I have no hesitation that Daytona spring rally will be going on for a while. I don't see it quitting because that's what happens. All these people that have snow are just looking to get the hell out of the snow. The rallies that I see that may not last is like Panama City, Leesburg, Myrtle Beach. Myrtle Beach, it sucks. We're going to go one more year and see how it all turns out. Steven's is really working on getting us some good riding and stuff to do, and maybe we'll spend more time riding around. We've never really found any good places to ride. Most of them say you have to go out 2 or 3 hours to get out in the mountains and stuff and ride. That's too far for
a day ride.
Yeah, for a day
you
ride.
Ride 3 hours to get to place. You get to ride there an hour, and then you have to ride 3 hours back.
So
unless you go up there and stay a day, I don't know.
So I don't know. We're looking at going back to a couple other ones next year if the dates allow. Would be Lake of the Ozarks. They got some really great riding.
Rally. That's what Steven says. He agrees.
Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue has got some really good riding. If Rogers could get their crap straightened out, it could be a junior Sturgis. They could really make it into something because Pig Trail has a lot of really good vendor trucks there. Just the city needs to get their crap together. So we're trying to help them. We're going to try to make a call out to them soon, probably after the first year.
I think somebody up there wanted to know, when did we get into motorcycles? He's had a motorcycle since.
Well, my first motorcycle was 14 years old. I got my Honda. And then before that, I had a mini bike. When did I get my mini bike? I don't know, when I lived on Briarwood. So I was probably
72.
Yeah, probably 12, 11, 10. I don't know, somewhere in that range. I used to have a paper route too. I used to deliver newspapers, and I've been delivering newspapers since I was 10 years old. So I've always worked, never not worked. And so yeah, I never rode like I did until we moved to California. My next biggest bike I bought was a 750 Honda I bought when we first got married. And I mean, I only put we probably had that. When did Kimberly get born?
83.
So we got it in 81. So
Yeah, we had it in
by the time I got the garage, when did we have the garage down there?
83. Yeah, well, 84. Well, Kimberly was only a couple months old. When
So
we
probably
moved
about
down.
85. So I only had it 4 years. All I had that bike, and I only put 5,000 or 6,000 miles on it. So we didn't ride it a lot. And I had a lot of friends after I sold that bike because it got to where we couldn't put. Once we had the second daughter, you couldn't put. We used to ride 3 people on a motorcycle, and you couldn't put 4 on. So
now once Mindy came, it was like, I don't think I can squeeze 2.
So we sold it because I just wasn't driving it, and I traded it to a guy for a conversion van, down payment on a conversion van that we had.
Now he's a family man.
Yeah. So instead of getting a minivan, I got a big old conversion van with couch in the back, refrigerator, TV, all that stuff for the kids. Took it to Florida a couple times, did all that. So from there, I rode a bunch of bikes. We sold cars. We started selling motorcycles too. I had a lot of friends that had bikes. I'd ride their bikes and stuff once in a while. Then we moved to California. I always wanted a Honda Interstate. Bought that. When we first moved to California, probably within a few weeks, I bought that. Had that. Actually, had that for, I don't know, 2-3 years. I put 5,000 miles on that bike. I had no idea when I sold it that I put that many miles on it. Stupid bike was broke down all the time. It had like 300,000 miles on it.
I bought it in 2003, and you didn't buy the other one until 2007, so 4 years.
Yeah. So then I think we rode it to Laughlin once. I think, not sure, but I think we did. And so then after that, I always looked at Harleys. Had a lot of friends that had Harleys. Always looked, just thought never could afford one. We were in Vegas in February, and I stopped at the Harley dealer, and they had a 01 Classic Harley there. And yep. And I looked at it. I said, "Oh, that's probably got way too many miles on it." I looked at it. It had 12,000 miles on it. I'm like, "Oh crap!" And I'm like, "What's the price?" It was $12,995. They just lowered it by $4,000. It was $1,500 or $1,600 the day before. And I'm like, "You're never going to finance me." Well, they financed me. So we had to go out. I went to Goodwill and bought a jacket. Still got it. It's a really nice leather jacket. And I went down to Cycle Gear, bought a helmet. I still have the original Harley gloves that I bought. And I rode it back and went across the mountain there and coming in the Devore Pass. And it was about 28 degrees there at the top. And she's following me in the car. And then from there, we joined the Hog Group. And that's when we started doing all the riding.
That's when we met Art.
And what ended up happening there was I would average about 25 to 30,000 miles a year on my bike. And I never, ever, ever rode it to work. Out of all the bikes I've owned, 3 bikes, I've probably rode to work twice on my motorcycle. Now she rode all the time on her bike because it was the toll roads. And so she put 40,000 miles on her sports to ride back and forth to work mainly. She rode it to Sturgis, or she went to Sturgis, but she rode it to Laughlin once and did a lot of weekend rides on it. And so we would go out on a weekend and do 300-400 miles on one day. Go up, turn around, come back, and that was it. So that's what got me riding. When we bought the house here, I brought the motorcycle out here, and that's when we kind of got to where I don't ride anymore. So I bought I bought an 09 Ultra Classic. That was my first full dresser that I had.
First 50th birthday.
Bought that, and we had that till 2014, and my brakes were going out, and I pulled in from Sturgis coming to Henderson Harley, and I always wanted the CBO. Always wanted the bike that had everything on it. I got tired of dumping $15,000 into a bike to fix it like I wanted, and it still wasn't what I wanted. So I bought the CBO, and then we rode it a little bit there, and then we ended up parking it here at the house, and we lived in apartments for a while, and never heard.
House, we thought we'd go down there and ride it every once in a while. Never really did that either.
So with all her ailments, we ended up selling her bike, and we've rode our bike now more. Probably this year, I've rode my bike more than I've ever had before. I probably have rode 3,000 to 4,000 miles on it, and that's just at rallies. We just don't have time to ride, and here it's not. We've got some good riding, but same thing. We got to go someplace. We don't have a lot of really great riding here.
I could go to Williams, but now it's cool enough here to ride to Williams, but now it's snowing in Williams, so you can't really ride there. There's really not a big rally in Hollister anymore. They have like a bike week, but I think it's just
the city gave up on it. The city gave up on it a long time ago. So it ends up being there's some guy that's got a field or something, and we hear, and he does it out there. Still some bikes show up every year, but they're not, same thing, they're not really welcomed there anymore. So Hollister's gone. Now we just heard yesterday, that Reno, which is Street Vibrations, is no longer going to be doing anything in the city.
Downtown Reno
is gone. City caught charging them too much for permits. They want them to pay for the police, the fire department, all that. The promoter says that ain't going to happen. So that's going to suck. It already sucked anyway, but now it's going to suck worse.
Virginia City was the place to go anyway. And Carson City, Harley Davidson's, they had a nice setup.
Other than that,
Reno.
that's it. But I mean, there's some good riding up there. There's some fun riding you do. We went around the lake Tahoe last time. First time I ever went all the way around. And it was actually the backside was a lot better riding than this side was. So that was kind of nice. But we probably won't do that again. I don't see any use going up there. But I mean, that's what's said. That the West Coast really sucks when it comes to motorcycle rallies. And Larry here is working on trying to get the Bullhead River Run going. And I hope he does, but it's a lot of work and
probably with a friend.
What?
Terry wants to know where we're staying when we go to the Mecum auction. Probably at Marie's, I would think. Probably. I have a friend that lives out there.
Last time, I think, did we stay with her or did we stay in the trailer? We also, our camping club has a place up there too. We pulled a trailer, but probably not because we want to completely clean the trailer out, take everything out of it, which the garage is slow, we're going along. So we still want to do that, take everything out of the trailer, reorganize everything, and put it all back in there, and then be ready to go. We're only looking to maybe take the trailer out to when we head to Daytona. It'll be the first time it'll go out next year. Because
I really haven't done anything to it. I did wash the bed, put it back together, but I still haven't got the clothes out of it. I got most of the bathroom stuff out, but I need to like pull all the carpeting out, clean it, sweep it, vacuum it.
So once we get the electric and once we get the electric in the garage, she could do a lot more. One side of the garage we should have pretty well done pretty quick. And the other side, it's going to be the shop. That's going to take me a little longer to do. Probably once we get moving on it, once we get it all framed out, I'm probably going to get the room fixed up first for the editing and working on bikes first before I panel or drywall the rest of it. So that's kind of on the garage. So did I talk about everything that I wanted to talk about tonight? Let me look at my phone.
People are going to bed. They're
going to bed.
Too late on the East Coast.
6:30, 7:30, 8:30, 9:30, 10:30.
And then Fender Kitten's going to bed.
Let's see, where did my thing go? I need to make sure I covered everything that I put on the thing to cover.
Right. We'll make sure you didn't forget to talk about something.
Well, I don't want somebody might call up and say, oh, you didn't talk about that. You said you were. You didn't cover that. I'm never watching you again. So I said I was going to go live tonight. We're going to talk about Harley recalls, the garage update. We talked about another Harley Davidson selling out. We gave you some Sturgis updates. We talked about the Bullhead River Run. We talked a little bit about diesel gas, not a whole lot about the diesel, but that affects a lot of us.
Don't forget to vote.
That affects us too. If diesel would disappear, if it get really hard, get really expensive, we won't be down there at all. We might fly in, but we definitely would not be bringing the bike and all that kind of stuff to Florida. So that's that on that. So vote good people.
Email me your address.
Start pumping the ass back out of the United States. That's what we need.
I don't have a bob and tam patch, but I got a patin patch.
So any more questions you guys got? How long have we been on?
1.5 hours. Can you see the clock right there? That's how I've been watching. There it is.
So
and it's working. That clock quit working a long time ago. He put batteries in and would die. Put batteries in and would die. Put batteries in and would die.
Got our new chairs. That's going to be for the garage. I put them together today. We're gonna have a lot of red stuff in there.
To match his toolbox.
Well, somebody has issues with that. Yes. So if we would have got like blue chairs and the lift would be yellow, how would that work? She has a thing with colors.
It has to match, and everything has to be symmetrical. I'm a very symmetrical person. If there's something on this side, there has to be something on that side, and it has to match. Yeah, you can't do. Oh, there's Michael Campbell. I'm on, but behind. Started late. Yep. We're about ready to wrap it up.
So what we talked about today was we talked about the recalls that Harley Davidson has. They have on most of the big bikes, anything you've had from 20, 22, brake light keeps coming on. Who cares? That would be, it makes it sound like a big major recall, 200,000 bikes for a freaking brake light flash. It still works when you put it on. It just comes on sometimes when you're not hitting the brake. Well, that doesn't count for the other idiots that drive around with their foot on the brake all the time, hitting it anyway, and they're not stopping. So that's a whole nother story. Harley does have a recall on the Nightster. The handlebars are breaking. So if you got a Nightster you bought this year, 2022, or you bought it
Take it back.
Get it back there and find out if your handlebars are going to break off. So we talked about that. We told you the right dates now for the Bullhead River Run, which is, didn't write it down,
Bullhead River Run is April 26th
6 or something.
through the 29th. Last weekend in April. That's usually when it always is. And I don't know where I got that he was going to have it in May.
Well, somewhere along the line, we think, because when we originally talked to him, we were telling him that he needs to really move it closer to Arizona Bike Week, which sucks too. But that way, maybe if you got big vendor, maybe some vendor trucks would look at it and say, hey, maybe we'll go to Arizona Bike Week, and then a week or so later go to Bullhead River Run. That way, it makes it worthwhile to come to the West Coast. Well, now he's moved it back to where now it's almost a month later before the rally is. So it's just going to hurt that by not moving it. But I mean, it's their choice. Whatever they want to do, that's fine. It's just like us. As long as we're still in Florida, we're not going to cover the rally. Now, Mike's going to cover it. Mike's going to come here and he's going to cover it like he did last year. We'll probably give him some cameras and stuff to we'll do some videos on it, and he's going to do the whole rally this year. So he'll have a little bit more with the cameras and stuff. We could do some videos afterwards, and you guys could see, hey, maybe it's worth coming out there instead of going down to Florida. Maybe do Daytona and then head west. Come out here and see what's going on here in the West Coast. Got some great riding. If you all come out, we'll do that ride on the coast of California. Coast. Go up from San Francisco.
If diesel prices get too high, everybody can ride their bikes out west here, and we'll go up the coast.
That's right.
There you go.
Lead you on a great ride, show you some great places to see and ride. And we're not going to charge you like some of these YouTubers are out here trying to get adventure packages and stuff. We ain't selling you nothing. Here's the hotels, just like I did here. Here's the campground. If you want to book it, here's the rate. Book it. If you don't, you can sleep in your tent. I don't care. And when I leave, I leave. If I say, hey, we're pulling out at 7 o'clock, 7:01, you can see my tire going down the road.
Well, and then you'll know where we're going to the next stop. So if you don't want to leave at 7, you can meet us at the next stop.
Right.
So
because
not a big deal.
I have an agenda.
Yes, he does.
And I make all my stops, and we have plenty of time to stop and see Black Beach and see the moose. Wait till you see the video of all the elks. We had 2 elks try to fight. Got that on video. That's coming out next week. Yep. I just got it done today.
And we've got an elk on a swing. How about that?
Yeah, that's coming up a little later.
That was what we saw up in Denver. So
yeah, just swinging away. Can you believe that? Freaking out.
Wait till you see the video. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. So it was pretty neat. So that's kind of the rundown of what we talked about. We talked about a little bit about diesel gas. There's supposed to be a shortage. Might be no diesel gas by Thanksgiving, and the whole world's going to stop. I better order some more rations.
I don't think so. Rick wants to know if they rent campers at Cackleberry.
I don't think so. I don't think there's anybody down there that rents campers.
You can stay at Markham's at Camp Easy Ride, and they have a tent, and it's up on a platform, and it's like, is it an air mattress? I guess it's an air mattress, and they get linens, get chairs.
He was this year. He was at
Cabbage Patch.
Cabbage Patch. So I don't know if he's going back over to Cackleberry or not. But really, there isn't any. Your best bet to do is start going into Marketplace and stuff like that and see if you can find
somebody that has one of those.
What's that thing called, that rental thing that we told you about, renting a car? So you can rent campers and everything else in there. There's some apps out there that you can go to that people rent their RVs to where, if you can find somebody in Daytona, pay them to take the trailer and drop it off for you. You be down there when it shows up. They put it on the spot. They hook it all up for you, do all that, and then they come back and get it before you leave. Of course, that's going to cost you a little bit more money. But I mean, if I was going to rent my RV, I'd rather set it up and bring it to you anyway, because I know that way it's not going to get damaged on the way there or on the way back. So you might find that might be an option for you if you want to rent a trailer, but it's.
I can't find it.
But there's some apps out there. Do some searching on it, or go on our Facebook page and ask about it. I had a couple people tell me about it, that there's an app out there that rents motorcycles, cars, RVs, boats, all kinds of stuff. So they're out there. You just got to find them. So that might be an option. But I mean, what sucks is there's just not a lot of camping. And like I say, a lot of people said this year for the fall rally, it was kind of a mud hole over there. A little rough. So.
Right. I had to stand. I couldn't sit no more. I don't
No,
know. If I look, I'm looking for that app.
Look at your comments.
All right.
You need a bigger pad on our seats.
Yes.
It hurts my butt. Not as comfy as I thought it'd be.
I don't know if we're going to be using these for lives. I have a wood motorcycle model that's in the mantle my mom bought me from back in Jamaica.
We have those.
Yeah, it's over there. I got 2. I got another one over there. And
The
then
wooden one's over there.
this one I bought at Pier 1. I saw it and I loved it and I wanted it. It was like $150. And I thought, I can't buy that. So a few months later, I went back in there and it was on the half price rack. It was $75. And it's like, I still can't pay that for that. And then I went in right before, it was around his birthday. It must have been his birthday. And I went in and it was like 75% off the lowest price. And I got it for like $15. So that was my bargain. Those I got at a yard sale, the wooden ones. I got 2 of those. And all other kinds of junk. We got some little gnomes, motorcycle gnomes. I need to go get a sandwich for a friend from the store in Carroll, New Hampshire. There you go. I bet it's getting cold up there. I don't do tents. No way. I hear you. But yeah, I guess last time you guys probably stayed at a motel when you went down there, huh? Yeah, I don't know. If I find that app, I will send it to you.
Only way we do is call the guy and Crazy Horse.
Yeah.
He might know somebody.
Yeah.
Who's that we know that goes down to Crazy Horse all the time and stays?
That's David and Mary Beth.
Call them. They might know somebody.
Yeah.
Oh, we do know a guy that rents a motorhome.
Oh, yeah.
It's down there for the race.
It is.
We might be able to get you a deal.
Yeah.
We can get
I'll
you.
text him and see if he said he was going to go to the Caribbean. Where did he say? Costa Rica?
Oh, he's probably back by now.
Well, no, he said once his wife died, which his wife died, he said he was out of here. He wasn't going to live in the States no
when
more.
we talked to him the last time we were there, he wasn't going to sell.
Anyway, yeah, I'll ask
He's got a
him if
motorhome
it's down
he
there and tell him to
normally
leave it down
rents
there.
it during the races. It's a big.
It's a
40
nice
footer.
one. Yeah.
I don't know what he charges, but he does.
I'll call him.
He
Barry
might.
D.
Yeah, Barry D.
Yep. Thanks. I'll get a hold of him tomorrow and see what I can find out. See what he thinks.
Because we always stop down there on the way to Florida.
Yep. We stayed at his place.
He puts us up with the RV.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I always tell him, I said, why don't you rent it for Daytona Bike Week? It's already down there because he has to pay somebody to haul it there.
Or he does it himself and he's.
Or if we get there early enough, maybe we move it for him. If we were down there, we should be down there by the time the race starts.
Yeah, we
NASCAR
could
race.
move it over there.
Move it over there to the other lot. Move it over to, if Cackleberry lets you put it, well, we got someplace we could probably park it. Got friends down there.
We got friends in low places.
Not really low places. Florida's a low place, I guess.
Yep.
So with that, we're going to leave you right here. I think we've had enough excitement for tonight.
Did you say everything you wanted to say?
Yep, everything was on my list we talked about.
All right.
So we did.
And then some.
Yeah.
You
Well,
got
people
some
ask questions.
backstory.
Somebody wanted to know our history.
How many businesses have we had?
Yeah. Which we told a few of you about
Bill.
our first ride to Sturgis
For
and
sure.
dealing with Barney 5. We're gonna eventually
He
do
wants
that.
to recreate that.
I
whole
should do a
scenario.
video. I should do it on a video. It'd be better.
We'd have to get somebody to play the part. Hey, Ryder X, so you can come out and play Barney Fife.
Get you a gun and with one bullet in it.
Thanks for the show. Okay, Rick. Thanks for hanging out with us. Hope you all have a good night.
And we got a bunch of recap videos that we're putting up this weekend for Galveston. I re-edited some of them, added some new stuff to them, and so you guys should start checking that out. Tomorrow, I think I got one coming up at 9 o'clock. Just kind of remember, not as quite as cold as it was
I need
then.
to call you.
But we were never telling anybody we were already down there. We haven't been down to any of the fall rallies. So all the videos that we've been putting up is all videos that I re-edited from last year and put them in there at the same time, just to kind of let you know what's going on. Basically, it's all, which it is. There's a few faces have changed, but other than that, everybody's pretty much always in the same spot. Same stuff's going on. That's why I said we could go down there about 2 or 3 years and you'd never know I'm not there.
What time? Tomorrow? I'll call you tomorrow. Ryder X.
And so pretty exciting. And but yeah, so right now that's what we're doing. We gotta go over and that's why I got the videos all done. Go babysit a couple of the grandkids. The parents have to go to Florida for a big production that they're doing. And
Going to
don't time to give out too much information.
no, but I mean it's Lehman Hudson, where grandson number 3 and 4.
Yep. So we'll be in Huntington Beach. Anybody's around Huntington Beach, let us know. We'll be
Yep.
down there, and we're gonna stop by the dealership. That's not one of our favorite dealerships, but
It's there.
yeah. What else are you gonna do in California? I think pretty much all other than Laidlaw's, I think they're the last one that's still a family owned. I think pretty much everything else now has all been gobbled up by the big companies. So
unfortunately.
yeah, they always gives good deals. They sell all their bikes at manufacturer list price,
Catsy.
so they don't jack up any prices. But they don't have very many bikes in stock because they sell them so darn fast. That's a big dealership. Very nice. Art bought his bike from there.
So what time am I going to get up in the morning? I've been getting up at 8. So 9, 10, 11, 12. I'll call you around noontime. How's that sound? And I'll put 9 o'clock my time. 9 o'clock a.m.
So we got some other videos coming up. I got another one that's letting YouTube look at it. It's a highlight of a bunch of girls from the last year of rally time. I got it, one of them on Patreon right now. You can see. You get it for $9. You can see it. That's up. I lost about $100 worth on Patreon. We don't have a whole lot of Topless Tuesday left. I got some pictures. I got to put the video, but with all this traveling and stuff, I'm way behind. So we threw a couple of videos up. I got one more I'm getting ready to throw up on Patreon.
And I've got some pictures that I never put up on Patreon of our trip to Mexico when we went to Puerto Penasco, and a lot of videos, a lot of girls. So I'll put them up on video, or I can give them to him, and then he can make a video out of them if he wants.
Put that up there, and we do have some other video that I might put up.
Right, have fun,
more adult content, but I don't want to get too crazy. So at that, we'll leave you thinking about that.
I'm on standard now, so you can see me. Okay, there you go, Patsy. I kept having to look her up to see who she was. So thanks for hanging out with us tonight. We love hanging out with you guys and talking. And subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Share us with your family and friends. Think about Patreon. Give us a big thumbs up. Ring that bell for notifications. And we'll see you on the next video. And if all goes well, we'll definitely have a live next Wednesday. I don't know if we'll do anything this weekend or not, if we'll go live on anything or not. But what else is going on down there, I don't know. So we're there in California till probably Wednesday. We'll be heading back here. And then hopefully they'll have all the driveway done. They'll have the pole in the ground. I can get my electric all hooked up. And then we'll be in the garage working, trying to get that done. It says we got to put the boat in there and takes the seats all apart because one of our subscribers is an upholstery worker down there. We're hoping to get our seats fixed at a reasonable price. So we're going to try to do that. And you get that also. I can mail a chunk of material to them so they can order, try to get it close as they can. Somebody's saying hello. We're saying goodbye. You say goodbye.
She did karaoke too.
I did at the party, at Tony and Judy's party. But where did my Facebook people go? There we go. All right, comments. Joyce, it's Joyce. Say hi to you.
You're kind of late, I think.
Yeah.
Past your bedtime.
How's Sophie doing? Is she doing good? We're leaving, so sorry.
We're still here. We're here, then we'll be back, and then we'll hear, you can still come out, January, February. Try to talk my brother to come out to help me with electric.
You guys can come out at the same time they do.
Told him I'd pay for his airlines, him and PJ, if they want to come out and help me.
They might drive so they can bring the dog, so you can bring your dog too.
Won't that be in the car for them? I didn't suggest that.
She's doing well. All right. You can talk to Bill and PJ about riding out with them. Or maybe you could follow them. At least you guys would have somebody.
Let's say we're going to take PJ's car because they ain't got no miles.
Oh.
He wasn't taking the truck.
So he's their new dog. Anyone that hasn't done a thumbs up. Oh, that's right. Thank you, Lifer Nave 33.
And don't forget, Friday is the last time that you can be guaranteed to be in our spot during the Buffalo Chip.
So call before Friday.
Yep, Friday at 5. You might sneak out early, so try to get the
4.
call.
I think it's 4. She leaves.
So call.
Carol leaves at 4.
Yep. And you have to tell her, but if you're not wanting to be in our group, or you just want to take that spot because you heard us talk about it, you can just go online and book it. By calling her, she's trying to figure out how
to get us all together.
We're going to pick our own spot. So that ain't an issue because I just go to Rod. Say, Rod, this is where I kind of want. Okay, put your tape up. And the other people, tough crap. Should be there by July 19th. Beat me there and you can have your better spot.
Don't say that.
Nobody's going to pay that much. You know how much it would cost them from the 19th? It's probably extra. You can come in extra days. You have to call them and see. Last year, I think it was about $70 a day to come in early to have an RV spot. So now there's people that probably would be happy to pay that. But if you figured from the 19th to the 31st, what is that?
The 19th.
20, it'd be 11, 12 days. Yep. Times $70 plus what you already spent.
Yeah, the phone's ringing.
But I don't think it'd be that many people come down there. But I might call ahead to some of the friends that I have working at the ship and say, put the tape up in my area. So I want to kind of put us all in an area to where we can, some of them actually have taken the trailers and they've kind of made it like a little square and closed it off.
Like a wagon train.
Yeah.
They all.
But it'd be tough just to put your bikes and stuff in there. I think that would be the only issue with that. So I don't know. We'll see how it all goes.
That's what your sister said. Your brother said he told him to come out, but she doesn't think he wants to fly. So I think that's why he's going to drive. He blamed it on the dog, huh?
Yeah.
Thanks, Steven. If you hear anything, give us a heads up.
I'm saying they're selling.
We don't know.
And I'm not wrong very
It's
often.
all hearsay.
And I'm not wrong very often. I've had several reliable sources. We thought Steven would know because he knows them pretty well too. But if I was selling my business, I wouldn't want anybody to know either because there's a lot of ifs. What if? And Black Hills Harley, they went ahead and came out with it. When we posted it that morning, they put it in the newspaper. So it was already public news. And that's what they told us. They already told us that it was being sold, but they said, would you please hold off till we announce it? And I'm like, that's
press
fine.
release.
But Ross Myers, we never got to talk to Shelly. We've called her a couple of times. She hasn't returned a call. So I'm like, I've had enough people, employees. I've had people, a lot of people that know what's going on, tell me enough information that they're selling to. So it's pretty public knowledge now, but that's the way it is.
Yep.
The
There's
future,
Joseph.
we'll have to wait and see what the future brings for all of our dealerships.
Hi, Joseph. Bye,
Hopefully it'll get better, but we always got to think about the worst. That's why I said with these big, I'm not so worried about Myrtle Beach, but I'm more worried about Destination Daytona. And I'm also, we did find that out too. Yeah, the Black Hills Harley, they're staying on the one owner, Al, which is the guy that comes on our channel, and we talk to him all the time. He's there for 4 years. So we can pretty much guarantee that the next 4 years of Black Hills Harley really isn't going to change much. We're hearing the same thing with Ross Myers, but we haven't heard a date. But maybe that they're doing the same thing. 4 years, the Ross Myers will stay in charge. Same thing. It's not going to get any worse. It's going to get better because you're going to have this new money coming in. They're going to want to do new improvements, fix this, fix that, make it look nicer, do stuff. So, which is kind of nice. So we'll leave you at that.
Bye.
See you on the flipper flopper.
Flipper flopper? Is that like the loosey goosey?
No.
No.